I'm Nicole Fox and I'm with Give a Damn, and we are here today at the Huck Finn Pond in Durango, Colorado, and I'm here to highlight a well-made beaver deceiver and caster master that was installed over 20 years ago. It's still functional. The fish hatchery maintains it, and I wanted to highlight it because this is a well-made one, and I want people to know how long-lasting these are, how effective, how cost-effective, and how much headache is saved by installing, one of these well with somebody who is a professional at it. Over 20 years ago, the Animal Advisory Committee, along with Skip Lyle, he's a flow device installer, and Sherry Tippy from Wildlife 2000, Colorado Parks and Wildlife installed this Beaver Deceiver Caster Master flow device. I'm here with Ryan Boda from Colorado Parks and Wildlife. He is the assistant manager at the fish hatchery, and he's the person who maintains this on a daily basis. So welcome, Ryan.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah. Before we go into the flow device and maintaining it, I wanted to highlight the reason why, beavers are so essential in the world that we live in today. They help in four major ways. One is they help with their wetlands, provide immense habitat for birds, amphibians, fish, and as well, their wetlands slow down the water, which allows for sedimentation and silt to be taken out of the creeks and the rivers. As well, that slowing down of the water allows for the water table to be recharged. And in the West, we're facing major drought. And this type of slowing down of the water, which allows for the recharging of the water table, can be a real answer to a lot of the water issues that we're facing. And lastly, they help with fire resilience. Emily Fairfax is a scientist, and she studied hot forest fires all over the West. And what she discovered is where there's forest fire that goes over a wetland, a beaver-created wetland, those wetlands get to only 115 degrees. What that means is that anything in and around that wetland is able to survive. Above and below, where the creek is just a creek with no wetland, the temperatures get over 200 degrees. Everything is annihilated. So if we put this in historical perspective, what this means, there were beaver in their wetlands before the 1800s when beaver were trapped out. There were their wetlands every quarter to half a mile on most streams in America, even in the West. Now they are every 50 miles of stream. So what this means was when, if we imagine a world where beaver in their wetlands were every quarter to half a mile, there was a lot more fire resilience. They provide a natural process for our rivers and a hub for all of life. Water is life. And I wanted to be able to highlight this coexistence measure because it's essential in the world that we live in and moving forward. We need this creature, this animal, to be the hero that it is. So I wanted to interview Ryan. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
And just ask you a little bit about, what this pond is so that we can understand, what's happening here, and then tell us about the flow device. So why is the pond here?
Okay, yeah, so we're here at the Durango Fish Hatchery right in the center of Durango, Colorado. And this is our settling pond, or our effluent pond. And what that means, Nicole, is that all of the water from the fish hatchery gets directed into this pond, and then it has time to settle out before it's discharged into the nearby Animas River. And with that being said, with the proximity of the Animas River, as Nicole mentioned, we do have beavers that time to time are traveling along the Animas, and then they come over the bank in front of us here, and they come into the pond and they're like, wow, what a great spot to live. So one of the things that we had done was have this beaver deceiver installed so we could kind of coexist with the beavers, offer the beavers a place to live, and at the same time not have it interrupt the functions of the hatchery. So right here in front of us we have the lower half of the pond, and this is the outlet section. So this is where the water actually makes its way into the Animas. You can see we have a little caged area here, and typically during low water months when the animus is low. The water can naturally gravity feed out into the animus, and we have it slightly caged off there. The only issue with that section is the beavers instinctively hear that flowing water, and what they want to do is they want to block it up. You know, they want to stop that flowing water to create a bigger pond for them to live in. So the cool thing about the beaver deceiver is there's a submerged part here. So it's a long corrugated pipe, and it comes into a rebarb caged area, and it's all submerged under the water beneath the water line of the pond. And what that does is it allows the water to travel through that cage, through the corrugated pipe, and into the river, and there's really no chance for the beavers to be able to plug that up and dam it up. Occasionally we do have to get in there and do a little bit of maintenance. Sometimes there's some brush that I'll pack on there, and in the fall months we'll get a lot of waterfowl that also are using the pond, and occasionally some aquatic vegetation will pile on there. But it doesn't happen that often. I'd say maybe a few days throughout the whole year where we actually have to go out there and remove that aquatic vegetation. So it's a really nice system, really carefree, and pretty low maintenance, and it seems to work great for us here.
Great. So this end of it, you're saying where the cage is, that's what's protecting the culvert. So even if they were to dam up all around that, there's this pipe, which is the caster master, that comes out. It's submerged underwater, so that even if that cage is full of debris or sticks that they've gathered, water will still flow through this flow device out the culvert, keeping the pond at the level that you all need it at.
Yep, that's absolutely right.
Great, but allowing for the beaver to live here.
Yep, and the beavers have moved in. This past winter we had a lot of beaver activity. Almost every day we were out here walking this pond, and you could see lots of cottonwoods being removed, and then we noticed the beaver actually has set up a lodge in the pond, and the lodge is actually where the beavers live, in that lodge. So it's really cool to see that the beaver deceiver is working, the beavers are here, the pond is functioning properly, and it's a nice coexistence that we have.
Great. Great. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for doing your part for helping with coexistence with beavers and doing your part to help with our future water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.